Matthew's face. I don't know why.
That was a good one.
I don't want that, dude. Alright, no, it's back to Luke. Alright, cool. Third WySpike podcast. And my name's Nick. And I recently had septum surgery, so that's why I'm not going to be playing in this league. So in the future, I'm going to be commentating some games, trying to predict who's going to win, and also going over statistics and stuff like that. But tonight, I wanted to go over the draft and how we felt about it, as well as just next steps in Texas Roundnet, and then ending with the predictions. So, with that being said, I kind of just want to hear from the people that were actually involved in the draft. How did y'all like it? Was it fun? What you didn't like about it? Was it weird?
Are you talking about the draft experience in itself?
Yeah. Did you think it was a good concept? Or do you want to do it again? Or would you want to just be like, hey, let's just form our own teams and do this league?
It was a good concept. It took them 40 minutes to call me, but it was really kind of awkward and slow at some time. But
it was theoretically great.
Okay, so
I'll leave it at that.
I guess full screen. I don't know if full screen works. Oh no, it does.
Yeah, I guess for me, I wish they would, maybe next year they could invite everybody to one place and then just have it an actual live stream of just place with it happening.
I thought it was gonna be a Zoom.
Something. Yeah, with everyone, so you can see everyone and get the reactions, etc. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I was watching it on my phone. Did anyone watch it on a computer? What was the the overlay or the setup of the screen?
I watched on my TV.
Well, it was supposed to be they were gonna video call us, and then they were gonna have, every person come on, and their video would show up, and they would do their thing, and then they would move out. But the video did not work, so they just had Frederick is now selecting X person, and that was it, pretty much.
I gotcha. Yeah, I think there's a lot of technological errors, but we're advancing. I'm sure Logan's trying to learn it, so that's good. And then I think for me, a big thing I saw was we were all trying to build up the suspense of it, and it was kind of funny because I know for me, on the receiving end, I had no clue who y'all were going to choose. So it was actually suspenseful, and whenever Colton picked Cooper Diaz, I was like, what the heck? What's going to happen tonight? Because I thought for sure he was picking Garrett. And then Luke picked Cooper, and I was like, what is happening here? So I felt like I was bamboozled by my own team.
Yeah. I didn't plan on picking Cooper until 2 hours before. I was going to play with Garrett, we were just going to play as partners and just try to win. But then, I was golfing that morning with Cooper, and Cooper, he wanted to play with someone pretty good, so that way he could have a chance. Him and Jim are both good players when they play together, best team together, and they wanted to play someone better than them so they could at least have fun and have a chance. So Garrett texted me and he was like, "Hey, maybe we should play with them." And then I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm fine with that." And then I got home and Luke was like, "Hey, I'm playing with Cooper," and Matthew's playing with Germ. And I was like, "Oh, we should probably text Garrett about that because he's gonna play with Cooper." But then he texted him, and then I was like, "So I guess they're playing with them." I was like, "So what are we doing, Garrett?" And Garrett was like, "Well, we could play together and take it serious, and then the only other super serious team would be Rahul and Dave, or we could still play with other people and give them more experiences and have fun." I was like, "All right," and then so I took the list, and I was like, "I guess I'm taking Cooper."
Yeah. So y'all all pulled switcheroos.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a switcheroo, which, on one hand you could say, oh, well, now we don't have, the top teams playing together anymore. But then, at the same time, it's also, now you have more toss-ups rather than, oh, who's going to win, this one top team or this other top team, and that's the only matchup you get for the whole league. Whereas now it's these 4 to 6 teams could go anywhere, so it's actually a battle now, which I think makes it more interesting.
Except for one team, but
I don't know. One team could be upset.
Spoilers.
So it didn't show it in front, but I do want to shout out Defend the Potato for following us, which is pretty cool. It's sent behind this window screen, which I'm gonna try to fix later on. But oh, we got Prism 345. There we go. It's fixed now. So we got 2 new followers. Thank y'all so much for following. And if you're just entering into the chat, we're going over how WySpike kind of just went the whammy mode and just chose completely different people than we thought they were going to. So, yeah, I think for me personally, I'm really looking forward to you playing with Cooper, Colton.
yeah.
You know, I think you said it best when you were talking about how right now I feel like we only know him as a serve baller, but I'm really wanting to see like what he's capable of, and I think you're going to be able to bring out hopefully the best in him, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. We don't really know anything about him, to be honest. Like, we've seen some videos of him, but like we haven't really seen him in action yet. I know I haven't really seen him play like ever, so I'm excited to witness it firsthand. You know, maybe I could teach him some things. So
No, definitely. So I guess with that, I think that's a perfect transition just to going into the second topic of the night, and just what y'all think about some of the teams that we're seeing. You know, this is not something we're used to looking at. I mean, I feel like in Texas, whenever we have majors, it's very much so who you're playing with for the season. And Gold League, we're not really seeing that. So I guess who are y'all looking out for, and what are some of the teams that I guess kind of shocked you?
I'd say, well, first of all, I'd like to say that the North Division is way more stacked than the South Division because, I mean, as much as I love incompetence, I would definitely say they're not the best club in Texas. Not to say they're not a threat at all, but they're definitely not quite up to that upper level. I would say they're like the next up and coming group, you know, with Seth and Ethan and Ryan and Nick and Josh. They're all starting to become really good players, which is exciting, but it's just not as exciting yet. So I'm looking at them to see how much they're going to improve or how much they might have already improved because, you know, I mean, we haven't played with them since February, so I'm excited to see them play.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, kind of how I'm looking at them is in the sense of I feel like they're where we were at maybe like a year ago, you know, and they may not have that experience yet in tournaments, but hopefully being able to come to a place where they're able to play upper level teams, maybe like Brian and Matt and Fred and Noah. Hopefully Noah will show up. And even Luke and Ethan. I'm actually thinking Luke and Ethan are going to be pretty strong in the South Division. Hopefully that can kind of heighten their growth, I guess, at a greater rate.
I want to give a shout out to Ethan, man. If you've been watching Tammy's quarantine spikeball highlights, he's putting on some great serves. Like he has, like I've known Ethan as a good player, who's just been kind of at the same level of good, and then this year I've seen a light bulb switch, and he's just taking it way more seriously.
Definitely.
So I think he's going to offer a lot, and I just think the South guys are hungry, and so it will be exciting to see how that matches up with experience and really how it matches up with determination. So.
Agreed. I think Ethan is definitely someone who, you know, even just playing him at tournaments, man, that guy works hard. You know, and I feel like, other than Luke Marshall, he's never really played with someone of like a higher caliber or even around the same level. It's mostly, I feel like he's usually been the better player on his team other than Luke. And, you know, I'm really excited to maybe see him start playing with people. I mean, right now he's playing with Luke, of course, again, but maybe someone better than him who can, I guess, heighten his growth, like I said earlier, with the other guys. So I think we can see big things from him in this tournament, or this league. What about the Maori brothers? I'd love to hear from y'all.
well, we're the first stream game. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Between who and
True.
who? So it's you
Maury
and
and Cooper versus Maury and Cooper.
Yep.
That's fine.
First stream game.
We haven't decided when yet because conflicting schedules, but
Yeah.
Have y'all reached out?
hmm
kind of.
Yeah.
Wait, did
kinda.
they already release our schedule?
No,
No.
no, it's not a schedule. He just asked us when this week at 6 we could do it, and Coop was like probably Tuesday or Wednesday, and I work both those days, so
Good.
we'll have to find the day.
But I'm excited for that first stream game for sure.
Yeah, I think it's starting out with a very strong one. I mean, y'all are both two great players, and then Cooper and Cooper are both. It's still very raw. Cooper Brown obviously has more experience than Diaz,
hmm
but I mean Diaz has been going to a few tournaments.
Yeah, this is true. And
Yeah.
he's
Maury
been
Cooper.
grinding. He's been I feel like he's been playing every day, so
Yeah,
or at least practicing every day.
I mean he adds Texas Roundnet quite a bit, so
This is true. Yes, he adds Texas Roundnet a lot.
you see what Frederick said in the chat? He said Maury Cooper blowout, not even close.
Classic Frederick comment.
That's funny. So what other teams are y'all looking out for?
That's a good question. I'm trying to recall
Probably
them.
David and Rahul.
Yeah.
They're the only team that has two premier players on it, so
Well, now I feel really weird being the only full premier team. It's so
Yeah.
awkward.
yeah. I was when I was watching the stream yesterday, and it was the whole turn. He picked you. Everyone was calling him a try hard, and everyone.
Yeah, we were basically getting hated,
Bruh.
Yeah, I know.
and I was like, all right, whatever.
That is so funny.
I mean, yeah. It is the Gold League, so
Well, I thought it was before then. I thought it was gonna be you two, and then all the WySpike teams, and it was gonna be super top heavy and the
Oh
more.
yeah, it was gonna be
Before
awesome.
right before the stream, so that's why I was fine with it. And then it was all switched when Grant decided he's gonna live in Utah. I guess.
Yeah,
So,
That's so real.
Ethan comes, that kind of threw everything off, and Nick not being able to do it either kind of.
Yeah.
Thanks,
exactly. That's so funny.
yeah.
No, definitely. I think definitely David and Rahul are the team that everyone is looking at to beat. Honestly, I'm really excited to see Brian and Matt.
That's what I was gonna
Yep.
say.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think Matt is still he's gotten better at defense, but I think Brian is gonna make him
Better.
maybe not unstoppable. I'm not gonna say unstoppable. I think that's too loose of a term, but I guess make him a seasoned player.
hmm
So-
Yeah, the thing that's going to be the toughest for beating David and Rahul is it's not that anyone like me or Cooper or Luke and Cooper or Matt and Jerm can't beat them. It's I think that us and then the person that we're playing with that's less experienced, they're going to have a really hard time serve returning you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's a place that's really going to hurt most teams that are a premier player and then an non-premier player.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are really gonna have to mentor your partners and really train them on that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's exciting for y'all
Yeah.
because it gives
sure.
you a chance. I know for me, I'm motivated by responsibility, and so whenever I have to mentor someone to get better, I naturally get better myself. Because you have to lead by example. You can't just tell someone to do better at server turn and they get ace 5 times. You know?
Like with
Yo,
David's famous quote,
Trust me, I know.
"Be light on your
Trust me-
feet."
Trust me, I
Be
was gonna
light,
say
Logan.
I've been there, last week. But I think that is a big factor. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest one. I think y'all are right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's gonna be pretty exciting. Also, on our own end, me and Rahul are gonna have to be more consistent. I think our setting is gonna be important for us. And I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
that's really the thing I'm grinding on at home the most is really just setting, and it's really difficult to think of drills I can do to give myself those kind of realistic situations that you see out on the field. But all in all, that's kind of what we're focusing on. We've talked about that offline together. So, like, we are pretty confident in our serve, so we're really not even going to touch that. And so, like, either way, we're going to lose. Like, we're going to be okay with losing as long as we can get our technique right, as long as we can at least grow in our skill, because I think that matters more. But of course, we're going to do our best. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think for me, the thing that stood out to me is I think you and Rahul have the same strengths, but also the same weaknesses.
Yeah.
So it's very supplementary players versus complementary.
Yeah, it could go one way or the other, honestly. And I think that motivates me to grow in I guess our shared weaknesses, and I'm sure Rahul's thinking about the same thing.
Yeah.
And we've played with Rahul the past couple of weeks, and he is getting more motivated on defense, and I think we are starting to see where our weaknesses are, and so it's just a matter of how much do we want it and how much are we going to practice. So.
Yeah.
I'm taking full credit for Rahul's defensive development.
That's fair.
But to also throw in the fact, y'all do share the same strengths, but they're also, y'all are different players within those strengths, though. Like, you know?
Okay, how?
Well, I mean, like, Rahul, y'all are both relatively, you and Rahul are good servers and relatively consistent hitters.
He's a glass
But
cannon.
Rahul just smacks the ball on both those things, and you have a lot of finesse on both those things. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
But those are still both your strengths, so it's not like y'all are just completely overlapping.
Yeah.
So, you got that going for you.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think server turning Rahul is different than server turning David.
But both equally both difficult though. At the same,
Yeah.
you know.
Server turning David, you have to go into it with a strategy. As server turning Rahul, you have to go into it ready to have nice reflexes. You know.
You have to go into praying, basically.
Watch his cut serve as much as you do on David, because you will cut on both of those and he does. But his is like a lot faster, so you just have to be ready to react.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You got any thoughts,
Yeah, I
Matthew?
What happened?
You got any thoughts?
What are we talking about?
Talking about David and Rahul.
Well, all I gotta do is hit it past them, because they're definitely not running for a ball. That's about it. Past them, it's over. Maybe a drop or two.
Skyball?
Skyball.
Honestly, skyball is how you counter them.
I hate
You're on
Skyball
stream, you
so
play
much.
them. You know their weakness.
That's funny. Funny but true. So what do y'all think about Noah, Frederick's partner?
Yeah, I really don't know anything about that guy.
Never seen him play.
Same.
He's left-handed.
All Frederick's told me is that he's a lefty,
Yeah.
and he used to be a pitcher, or used to be some. He just has a crazy baseball background. He's very athletic, and he loves defense. And as you guys know, Frederick is addicted to getting better at defense, and
Mm-hmm.
And he
that's
has
pretty
been
much
since day
all
one.
he wants. That's all he
doesn't matter.
wants is
Or what
defensive ups.
happened.
So, I'm excited. Frederick is a stellar mentor when his heart and his mind is in the right place.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I mean, I've seen that from him building up TAMU literally with his bare hands. So, I know he has it in him. It's just can he unlock that in Noah? That's gonna be the question. And of course, can Noah keep up? With serve receive. Can he keep up with just seeing a lot of new things? So.
And I mean,
that'll be really
as much as Frederick can mentor someone, that's also going to be a lot on if Noah can be self-motivated, because, I mean, Frederick can't, put in the work for him. He's got to
Right.
go home and serve every day. He's got to go home and get touches every day. So, I mean, he'll only get as good as he wants to get. So,
I also don't know if he'll have as hard of a time with serve receive in that division as much as he would on ours. So
Mhm.
I don't think
Agreed.
it's
That's true.
as heavy over there as it is over here.
Which
Yeah.
may come back to bite him if, let's say, for example, they do make finals or playoffs. I don't know how it works yet. But, he
Yeah.
enters North Division. He's never seen a reverse cut because if I'm looking, I don't think anyone in South Division has a reverse cut.
Mhm.
I mean,
Frederick-
yeah, the only person would be maybe Frederick, but he's on his team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen Frederick actually hit one.
I haven't seen him either.
I'd say Frederick has a slice.
Yeah.
I'd say Frederick has a spinny serve that doesn't spin off the net.
Roasted.
He's got a good cut serve. It's really fast and good.
Yeah, he's-
I just
yeah.
need to reverse.
Because
He
he's wrecking
honestly
a lot.
doesn't even need one because his push is really fast and throws people off enough. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if a reverse cut would fit his like serving style. Anyways, you know, it's a slower serve.
Yeah.
I think the power works for him just well. So
Yeah, he's a powerhouse.
Definitely.
I think he likes that too. So
Speaking of powerhouses, can we talk about how much of a powerhouse AJ is? That man yesterday wrecked
What?
some lives.
With the decline.
With the decline.
oh,
In case you didn't
the
tune
only
in-
was that the only decline? I kind of stopped watching.
No, there was a few, but very rare.
What?
For those who didn't tune in yesterday,
Hmm.
AJ is, I believe, he's like 40th maybe, around there. And
He's
Bradley-
33rd.
33rd, my fault.
How you gonna
You're
do it like
you're
that,
way
Nick?
off.
Why?
You're
Okay,
way
seven,
off, bro.
seven ranking, my fault. I'm sorry, AJ. I meant no disrespect. Bradley Thompson, he's a premier player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bradley Thompson chose AJ to be his partner, and AJ declined it,
Woo.
which was just out of nowhere, and no one was expecting it. Everyone was expecting him to say yes.
So, okay, legit, I had to go off the stream. Can y'all, on the ground, explain to me what that looked like? What was the reaction like?
Well, because it was pretty much Logan just.
He was just confused.
It was pretty much just Logan saying like, "Oh yeah, like we're sure AJ's gonna say yes," and then they were very much like, "What just happened?"
Well, I mean, for the most part, Bradley, I believe, if I remember correctly, he was told he was basically not going to pick because he was going to be put at the bottom. And so he was told that, and then he came into the draft finding out that he was like pick number 12 or whatever. And so then he had to actually pick someone, and he didn't have any research. So he's like, okay, I guess I'll pick AJ. And then it just got denied, and everyone was like, oh, like,
Yeah.
dang, you're a savage. Like,
That's funny.
but, I mean, he had already promised Matt Denna that he would play with him, so
Sure.
it's understandable, but
Yeah.
I like both those guys. It's a fun team.
It was, it was funny for me because I kind of I didn't set them up, but Matthew Denna kind of asked me like, hey, like, who should I accept or who should I reach out to? Because he wanted to play with Chase originally, or AJ, one or the other, and he was asking around. He's like, hey, can either of y'all play? Chase was gone, AJ was here, and he's like, oh, like I like AJ a lot. I played with him before. So when I heard Bradley reach out to AJ, I was like, what's he gonna do? I was like, is AJ gonna say yes and just kind of just leave Matthew behind? And according to AJ, he has morals, unlike WySpike. So
yeah, I would just accepted Bradley.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, screw you, Matt Denna. I'm leaving for a better partner.
Damn.
Oh my gosh, shots fired.
That's
Hey,
probably what
my
Luke
boy,
was
man.
thinking.
How dare
That's
you?
probably what Luke was thinking when he picked Cooper instead of you.
That's
Oh.
yeah, I mean, it's reasonable. I mean, you know, this is for money. You got to play to win.
Yeah, exactly. There you
Yeah, what
go.
is it for? Like $4 right now.
Hey, I think,
Donated. $2 each.
Matthew, you are now my number one on my list to be. I think that's from.
I mean, I'm the only one that donated to the stream yesterday, as far as I know. So I'm the only one putting extra money down on this thing. So
I can't believe you actually donated.
I donated like $2 because I was trying to get my name up on the screen, and it never even popped up. I was like, what the heck?
So in other words, you only get it for recognition. Is that right?
Exactly.
That's
But
all I
I
mean.
didn't even get it.
I saw it pop up on the screen.
Well, it was on the screen, but there wasn't like alert. It was just like
Oh no, it was
on the
there's no
screen.
alert.
It's like
Yeah,
nobody probably even noticed it.
yeah.
So
This
I
guy,
was very sad.
this guy's the type of guy that's like, he tides in church. He's like, hey everyone, I tied $1,000.
I was just trying to be the big baller, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't get to do that.
You're literally a Pharisee, dude.
That's right. I'm trying to flex. Trying to flex, dude.
All right. Anyway, we should move on from religion. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's next, Luke? What's next, Nick? What do you got?
Yeah, so I guess the last thing for teams, and then we'll move on to Texas Roundnet as a whole. How are y'all feeling about the people we haven't really seen play as much? You know, we got Brandon, Grayson, Kyle. I mean, even Seth, we've seen him play, but I think Seth usually just plays at TAMU and maybe a few other majors.
Hey, I don't want to skip over Quality Soup because they've never not podiums. Just throwing that out there.
That is true. I mean, we can go to Quality Soup if y'all want to. I'm excited for that.
I know Allie's been hard grinding, so
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think Garrett is a consistent enough player to help Allie, but she has to, I guess, complement the consistency. Like, if he
Yeah.
hits her a set over net, she's got to put it away. Because I think right now, a lot of her hits are lipping up. Maybe she hits right at the individual and the defender. But
Yeah,
I think
she's
who's
gotta-
going to be her partner, I think it is Garrett.
yeah. I think she just has to kind of tighten in her focus because I've actually seen her hit some really quality shots before, like hitting over the net. And if she's able to consistently hit like that, they're definitely not to be left out of the contention
Definitely.
because Garrett's a great player.
My only comment to that is if she lefty flango drops, I will lose. Literally all the time. All the time she aces me and I hate it. She's so good.
That's true. That Fuego drum is so.
Remember that one thing? She aced me like 10 times.
I know.
With the same serve, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, I think serve receive is also going to be something that's huge, but I mean,
That's
I
very
think
true.
the thing she was trying to work on the most this summer is serve receive, and I think North Division is going to do just that.
Challenge that for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts on Quality Soup?
Great name.
Quality name.
Yeah.
Logan?
Honestly, I'll be impressed if they make the bracket. TBH. Because Garrett has the ability to just flat out throw a game.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
The ability.
Like Garrett can either
Colton,
like
can you speak to that?
Garrett can either like serve wider than both my arms combined 3 times, or can double fault the entire game. So that's all I know.
He definitely is more consistent than he isn't, though.
Yeah, I feel like he's not going to throw a game because there's, money on the line for sure.
Oh, we don't mean throw on purpose. I mean,
No, I know, I got you.
he can. I feel like he can streak
Yeah.
the wrong way, I guess. In a
Yeah.
sense.
Mm-hmm. I think it is less likely though than like Germ. I mean, I think he's. I don't know. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely someone like if he messes up a few times, he gets. I don't think he really shows the frustration, but he's very much just like, man, like I'm sucking right now. Like Luke, I think he's kind of like you in that sense. Like he wants to be performing his best, so when he doesn't, he's kind of just like, this sucks.
In a different way, but yeah.
Yeah, in a different way. Definitely agree on that. Yeah, but I'm excited to see them. I think North Division is going to be. I think it's going to be great competition.
Yeah. For sure.
South Division, I want to see the people who haven't played as much really just holding their own as well as developing as players, and hopefully seeing them at more tournaments.
This is true.
But yeah, because I know Brandon. Apparently, I saw a post recently, like Brandon playing. I think he was in a highlight reel or something with, I believe, maybe Fred, maybe Braden as well.
Yeah, Matt Cole was there, I think.
Yeah, so like that's promising that they're already playing even before the league starts. So
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. Kyle, I don't think I've seen him play that much, and then Grayson, I don't really see him play that much either. And then I don't know if anyone noticed, but I think we have 4 Matts in this league. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. Matt Denham, Matt
Okay.
Purvis, Matt Cole, and me.
Bruh.
That's a lot of mats.
Matt's around the world.
I mean, I guess.
How would you be able to do yoga if you didn't have mats?
That's so
Uh-huh.
stupid.
I've been the worst work of my life.
All right, Nick, what was the other thing you were going to talk about? Texas Roundnet or something?
Yeah, so moving on to the next topic, because we kind of just went over the teams and just seeing what, who we're looking out for and who took us by surprise. But I guess with this, I kind of just want to talk about, like, what is the future for Texas Roundnet, kind of coming out with this league, and you have the Allen League coming out of it, even TASR hiring some interns, like Luke. But, if people tuned into the previous stream for TASR, they went over the past, present, and history of it. So I kind of just wanted to touch on that and get y'all's perspectives, just being players who are a part of the community of TASR, not necessarily like the organization of it, but obviously we're part of WySpike. We're an independent club. They are the ones that run major tournaments. I guess where do y'all see Texas Roundnet going a few years from now, and how are we going to get there?
Honestly, we're still going to be here probably for, at least a few more years. Once we start graduating and stuff, people's life will go in different directions. So, as much as I would love to say that everyone's going to stay in Texas and continue playing, and practicing every day, that's kind of unrealistic. So I think the other option, or the better option, would just be to start training new players while we have the time and motivation. That way they're still act like they're still high level play even after we step out.
Definitely, but like passing the baton, if you will, to the next generation
Yeah,
of
sort of.
ballers. Yeah.
It's kind of what Logan and Brian are doing right now. Like what they did with us.
That's true.
Yeah, I think I'll add on to that. I think that's good, Matt, what you say about training. It's an exciting question. I think an exciting answer would be that putting a number on it, by this time next year at TASR tournaments, we'll start having 40 teams. Maybe even 50 teams. Like in one division.
Oh wow.
Kind of like how Utah was. Utah was like, that was a really cool. I know it was stacked. There were a lot of players there visiting, but just that was a cool dream, I'd say, and a nice goal. I'd say an attainable goal.
Right.
That
Like the
Texas
fact
Roundnet
that,
can shoot for.
basically, it's starting to change, but right now, the only way that you can get nationally high level games is tour stops. And I think with, the whole COVID shutdowns, Utah being able to host their tournaments kind of made people be able to see, like, oh, hey, I can go to a Utah tournament and still get that high level national vibe.
That's right.
Which, all it takes is, a handful of good players to go, and then it becomes a top-notch tournament. So,
And I think that's a good point, Matt. And I think hopefully, as we continue to train more guys and girls in Texas, we also do our own part and grind and get onto the higher stage nationally. And then from there, we have a more of an influence in the way we train, and I guess we become more equipped ourselves. I think just seeing how Tam you grew in 2-3 years for my time there, it was like once we started having rep, once we started being able to throw around, we were the second best college team in the entire world. Like no matter if you played spike or not, people were like, wow, that's really cool. And so when we're able to make a name for ourselves, and then use those skills and experiences to then train other people, I think fire burns and catches really quickly. So I think since there are so many good players right now in Texas and it's ultra competitive, I only seeing it getting way
Right.
bigger.
And like even Preston, he's doing a lot in Utah right now, but like if I remember correctly, they like sold out their little training day he did where he's like, I'm gonna be there, HDR is gonna be there, I'm gonna teach you how to hit and serve.
Yeah.
And people wanted that, so I think also it's becoming like a new market, I guess, sort of people who actually want to start getting better and are able to see these bigger tournaments and go, oh, I want to do that. Whereas before it was like you never got to see those bigger tournaments, so you never got to be like, oh, I want to do that because you never saw it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
so,
true.
So just to clarify and kind of like wrap this together, what I'm hearing is like y'all think that more people are gonna gain that competitive spirit that they see at tour stops within Texas. Like we're gonna go to that level and like that, I guess, that many people, that much competition going on, and it's gonna be to where people don't have to go to Nashville or go across the country to play against people who are such high levels. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think sort of. I think if we try to match the competitiveness of a spike ball tour stop, then we're kidding ourselves because those are the most. That's the NBA of our sport. Like that's the most prestigious tournaments you can play in, and we're never going to be as competitive as that. But all we have to do is play catch up, and all we have to do is get even close to where they are, and we would start seeing that. So like what you're saying, Nick, like people, yes, they don't have to travel so far to get really high level competition.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's always going to be room for growth and room for striving to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all saw the chat, but shout out to my bro Craig, who's Symptom 14. He raised a question about looking at the consistency of leagues versus consistency of tournaments, and whether or not like Roundnet should be focusing their attention on building up leagues, like such as we're doing with the Gold League.
I think the thing about leagues is that, I mean, and the reason that like even this Gold League can exist is that we have, at least in Texas, we have 28 people that are willing to every week for their summer play a game at a high level and like do that over the entire summer, be dedicated to it the entire summer. Whereas beforehand, it wasn't really an option. Like you didn't have enough people to really do a league, so that's why tournaments were bigger, because people could just set aside one weekend and go and have a good time, and then that'd be it. So maybe more leagues in the future.
Also, it has to be more local. Like no one's gonna go fly somewhere, drive 2 hours to go play a series.
Of course.
So we just have to have enough people locally to do that. Where if it's a tournament that has a lot of like benefits of making pro division, and everyone from across the country is together, then it's worth just a weekend flight or drive to go there with your friends. So
look at tennis. Tennis has some leagues, but it's a tournament sport.
Mm-hmm.
And golf too.
Golf is as well. Like yes, leagues exist, but all the prestige and all the investment goes into tournaments. And
Yeah.
I don't see Roundnet transiting into a league sport anytime soon. I think I mean again the goal is the Olympics, right? That's the goal. It's Roundnet to be an Olympic sport in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a fantastic, really doable idea. A goal in 10 years time. But at the Olympics is a tournament.
Yeah.
So why would be throwing all of our eggs into the baskets of leagues if we're striving to be an Olympic sport one day? I don't know. I think that would be my logic as to why we should stick with tournaments. And just kind of obviously there's smaller logistics that make sense, like you're saying, Colton. No one's going to drive 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just for a series. There's obviously those are valid too, but I'm thinking that was a more big picture answer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the league is like, I feel like right now it's definitely something we're testing still. We've never done it on this type of scale. I don't think really anywhere else but Texas. So I think this will definitely show us like what it may look like. But I definitely agree with y'all on that about definitely seeing the Olympics become a possibility. I mean, for those of you who are watching who maybe don't know about the world scene of Roundnet, it's pretty big, not just in America. You know, Europe has a very strong community of people who travel between countries, know one another. Preston Bies, I think is he fourth or what player is he in the world? I forget. Third. He's third in the world. Went over there for a little tour, and many people came out to meet him, play with him, and learn from him. And just seeing the growth it has in many different countries aside from the U.S. is very promising for it to make an appearance in the Olympics sometime in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
But with that,
I do also. Okay.
Just one last thing. With that, I mean, that's why I feel like so caught up on the audience retention of it and people wanting to actually watch it. Because why would it be in the Olympics if no one's going to watch it? I just don't see the feasibility of that. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the reason we are doing this Gold League is because we were unable to do tournaments because of the virus. Like, it wasn't. Ideally, if we had everything going our way, we would still have the Allen Recreational League for people kind of looking to kind of dip their feet into like a commitment in Roundnet. But our majors and our tournaments would be our number one choice because that's the most applicable to the sport. We're doing this because it works within the current virus kind of guidelines. So.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
True. Because we wouldn't. I mean, obviously, we'd be going to tour stops every other weekend.
And we had so many Texas majors and stuff planned, and
So you don't see this something being revived in the future? You think this is a one-time summer thing?
Well, I'm not saying that it's not. I think it's a great thing for local tournament play. I mean, for local just like weekly play. The only thing is if tournaments and this league were a thing, I don't see monetarily how people would be able to invest in both a this long of a league while also handling tournaments.
Agreed.
And maybe in the future the league would be less expensive because we're getting revenue from tournaments. That's why this league is more expensive this time around. I mean, you can go back and forth between what ifs, but I'm saying obviously the tournaments would be the number one choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of going back to what Frederick was talking about in the chat is the way that leagues and tournaments and everything are going to become more prominent is through better players. Right now we can have, what do we have, like 5, 6 maybe teams that are somewhat interchangeable. Like we can have tournament previews, and it's like, oh, I think this person's going to win or this person's going to win, and it kind of just always seems like it's the same people at the top over and over again. But with these clubs driving people to get better, I think it's going to be really exciting when we stop knowing who's going to win.
Yeah.
Once there's more like comeback ability in a sense, or I guess speculation. What is that? Conspeculation about who's, or is it just speculation?
Just speculation.
Okay.
You're good.
I was like, well,
I think you combine contemplation with speculation.
anyways, once there's more speculation on who could win a tournament, I think that'll be when it's exciting and when people can start cheering for a certain team over another team. Because at this point, it's like, oh, I'll cheer for Rahul every tournament because Rahul's like one of the top players, or I'll cheer for Texaners because they've won every tournament, etc., etc. And it's just not very exciting.
I will say another thing that I was thinking about. That's a really great point, and I think another thing that not just like Texas Roundnet, but I mean Spikeball in general and any tournaments can do is making tournaments more of a spectacle, rather than just people showing up to just watch the game of Roundnet. And I know like money isn't a thing, and I mean, it's kind of a slightly awkward situation of Spike Ball, the brand, being the thing that's running the tournaments. It's kind of a very interesting partnership there. But if you look like the sport of baseball, I mean, I'm not pulling out major facts, but there's a lot of people that go to baseball games that don't even like baseball. It's the culture, it's the atmosphere, it's the people, it's the food, it's a whole experience. And I'm not saying that we should make it just like baseball, but like, what if? I mean, and Preston was even talking about this. In old spike ball tournaments had like booths and stands and music and just like a bunch of fun games that people would play, like outside of like the tournament. And so if I'm saying if like we had like stands where people could like buy some food, or like people setting up their own shops to like buy things, like they could rent out a space that they'd pay spike ball for to kind of have their stand there, and people could come and watch. And then people start ascribing that fun and that experience with the sport of roundnet like they did with sports like baseball and golf. And I mean, like, you don't always have to like it needs to be a combination of both, like making the sport more like watchable, but also the atmosphere of the game. Like, how many people are going to sit and watch a game that you can barely see from afar in 105 degrees without there being something for them to actively do as well?
You gotta get
like tennis. Yeah, like tennis, like it's a whole thing. You dress up, you got the hats, you got like a bunch of things you can do between matches and stuff like that. You know? I'm just saying spike ball is kind of lacking in the fact that you just walk there and there's a bunch of people just hitting around on nets and like literally nothing else to do.
Like, you want like a funnel cake, you want Kona ice there.
Yeah,
Snowballs,
I mean, like,
Bahama Bucks.
I mean, I'm just
A dose.
looking at the demographic of spike ball. It's a lot of like high school or college kids, young adults, and just like what are the type of things that they're like? I mean, like music festivals and like concerts and like, you know, like fun activities and stuff are like really applicable in that demographic. So if you apply more of those to like a tournament setting, I see attracting a lot of people. You know, and like I don't know exactly. I mean, there's also a lot of just logistics to like go with that. But I mean, like, without attracting people in some sort of way, I don't know how much the sport can actually grow outside of like the only people that would come to tournaments are people participating. And you can grow the amount of actual players as much as you want, but without people like fans, like that's how sports make money. So
you want the atmosphere to change so that people can have the atmosphere of what's going on aside from roundnet and still have roundnet as well.
Yeah.
Or they make money from TV deals, but that's
yeah. I mean, like you have a family, like, hey, let's go watch the game. You know, it's like a fun thing to take your family to.
Definitely. Yeah.
Those are wise words, man. That is those are wise words that will take years and years and years.
I know.
But that is exciting. Like, I mean, I guess only Matt in this chat. Matt was at Nationals last year, but I thought it was so cool when we were watching the final CS and Voicers, and we had the band playing in the background, and everyone started singing "Country Road." Like, that was cool, man. Like, that was
exactly. Like, that's
I'll
steps.
never forget that. That was cool.
And I'm not saying no one's making those steps. Like, there's steps being taken. I'm just saying, you know, I see that being like an outlet of how it can kind of grow.
Yeah, we should do that at our next tournament. Let's get like a petting zoo.
Oh, Scallywag can park the boat next to our field.
Snow cones, yeah.
They could get snow cones.
Yeah. I'm saying, I don't know how you do it. You could have people pay for spots or like revenue share. I don't know exactly how you, I mean, like, I know it's an idea I was thinking about.
If we have a petting zoo, we need a picture of Colton's face and saying, here's the goat petting area.
That's
Nick, you got anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at this comment by, once again.
I do one comment that I like was gonna like make. It was about when we were talking about like how like growing TASR and like tournaments. I think a big thing of where that could start from would just be like us getting more of our name out there and just doing better in domestic tournaments, SRA tournaments. Like, you know, Rahul and Grant are doing things in Utah. I think that gets like the name out there for Texas as a better or more quality run at place. And like if we all have like all like 11 or 12 of like the premier players that we have in Texas, however many we have like distinguished names out there. Like people are going to want to travel from out of state to come play
Yep.
against us. The more people that want
Exactly.
to travel out of state, the more we're going to get. So, but unfortunately, we can't do that when there's no tournament. But
Yeah, I mean, look at Utah. I mean, I think. Well, never mind. I feel like their situation is a little bit more unique just because we haven't really had tournaments in. But at the same time, like there was a lot of top level talent at the recent Utah tournament. So, I mean, you see Rahul and Grant just leaving us behind and just going, and Grant's now living in Utah. So,
I also think another thing that needs to, I guess, start happening is, I mean, you look at a lot of the clubs right now. Most of them are, us. You have Lone Star, you have A&M, you have Baylor, you have, I guess, Incompetence now. You have random high school clubs over Texas. Um, a lot of clubs are. I don't mean this in a rude way. A lot of clubs are very inclusive, which is great. Build community and everything. But at the same time, I think there also needs to be top level clubs that are exclusive, like Lone Star, like WySpike, that people need to be able to strive to get into. Because, I mean, let's say if Lone Star didn't exist and if WySpike didn't exist, like, what would be the point of playing tournaments? Like, oh yeah, it won again. Like, okay, what? Like, am I going to go play another one to try to win again?
ooh, I got a piece
But
of a tree.
now that we have Lone Star now, right, yeah, like, oh, I can get one armband. Now that we have Lone Star now, you can get $100, get up to 500 more, I believe. And it's exclusive. You have to qualify for it. I know with us and WySpike, we have a few qualifications that you have to meet. It's not just an super inclusive club, which I like because then that means anyone that's joining the club has to work to meet a criteria in order to get in, which I think is another thing that can motivate people to get better.
yeah, it gives something for people to strive towards, rather than just doing the same thing over and over again. And maybe you go to a tournament, maybe you place a few times, but then what? Agreed. Anyone else got thoughts on Texas Roundnet and just what our future's looking like? No?
The future is bright, honestly.
Yeah.
Like Matthew's light.
Like Matthew's light.
Like I'm about to turn up my light. You ready for this?
Good girl.
We're gonna turn this light up to 100%, baby. Oh, it's
Oh.
so bright now.
All
There we
right,
go.
So with that, kind of just concluding this this podcast, I want to look at everyone's predictions for the league. I want
Oh,
to
shoot.
hear y'all's
I gotta write this down.
top 3 teams.
I gotta think about it.
Are we just
Prediction is
we just
top
say our
one.
top two from each one? Because I don't want to give like my full list or
Okay,
anything.
Me
fine.
too.
Do top 2 in each division and who's playing in finals. Actually, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, top 2 in each division and who's playing finals. Dang, I gotta do this too. I thought I had this written down. Apparently, I don't. Let me use my spike.
Yeah, Colton, you can start, dude, since apparently you already got a list.
Yeah, Colton.
All right, I'll go. I think the top two from the North Division. I think it's Rahul and David,
Yeah.
and Maori and Cooper.
I knew you were gonna say that.
That's exactly what I was gonna do.
Interchangeable. I think it's interchangeable. I mean, I don't really know what to expect from Cooper Diaz. I haven't seen him play, especially against people like as competitive or high skilled as us. So we'll see. And I know that Cooper Brown is solid. So if he shows up, he can hit nasty serves and take over a game. And then the other side, I think it's going to be, Fred and Noah. I think that Fred is a good enough coach and like partner to be able to get him to at least the Final Four. And then I think it'll be Matt Cole and Brian. I think Matt Cole and Brian will win that side. Rahul and David will win our side. Rahul and David win.
Dang.
I think Rahul and David win pretty handily too.
Nice.
All right, I can go. I made my list. I think for me, it's very hard to not make a list with Rahul and David. I mean, it's pretty. I feel like it's pretty much in their favor. I will say the only way that I feel like you don't do this is if you have consecutive days where your serves are not on, which, David, I think you're a pretty consistent server as well as Rahul, so unless there's a lot of wind the day you play, I think you're fine. But for me, Colton, I really like you with Cooper, and I think that's going to be really fun to watch, but I don't think Cooper Diaz is there yet on the consistent level of playing against higher level players. If he's able to figure it out very quickly, then maybe you'll have a chance to get second in North Division. But I guess being pessimistic, I don't see that happening. So for me, it'd be Matt and Germ or Luke Mowry, and then Cooper Brown. And I would have to go with Luke and Cooper, just because I want to say Germ and Matthew, because I think Matthew and Germ have good chemistry together. But I think Germ's hitting with Luke and Cooper's defense, their defense is going to kick in, and I think they're going to be able to put them away.
Germ also drops like a whole level when any type of competition around Spikeball like approaches.
Yeah, agreed. So
he'll be raw pick up, and then as soon as it's like a tournament, he like loses his mentality for some reason.
But I mean, it is based off of points, so I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I think that game's gonna be hard for Germ though, so he's gonna have to pick it up, or Matthew's just gonna have to carry him when they play. So it's one or the other. South Division, honestly, I don't see Fred and Noah taking the second spot. For one, I really don't know anything about Noah, but I do think Luke and Ethan have good chemistry together, and they're actually one of my favorites for this league. You know, I don't see them being Rahul and David, but I do think it could be a close call between Brian and Matt. You know, I know Matt is getting better, and I think Brian has phenomenal experience. He's a great player, but I would really love to see Luke and Ethan in that final.
And I would have picked Luke and Ethan for my final, but I feel like you just kind of have to be a fool to bet against Frederick and Texas Roundnet. You know, like he's had crazy amount of success here.
Yeah, I was gonna say
more first places than like not. So
I have to disagree just because I mean Frederick has the most insane serving runs, and then you know once he's hot, he's gonna keep throwing them out all day long. So yeah, I definitely
He's the PJ of Texas Roundnet.
Right, I would definitely have to go lean probably about the same as Colton's list, I guess. But yeah, I'd also put Luke and Cooper Brown over Colton and Cooper.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the most honest opinion I've ever heard Matthew say about finishes, and otherwise he would just say him first usually.
Yeah, well, last time I did that, I sucked it up, so we're trying a different strategy this time.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'll go. I think that the only difference would throw in here would be that I do believe in Matt and Germ. And I don't know, I think that I mean, we've all played with Matt. I think Matt has improved. I hate Matt's drops. They're getting very, very good.
They are.
And I think Matt is getting better at defense. I think that from what I've seen in Germ needs somebody who can push him. And if he's playing with someone who he feels is against him, then he doesn't play well. But I think that he could play very well with Matt, and he could very well. They both could very well challenge that second spot on the North. So, not trying to be boring and have the same old list as everyone, but I think that's really the other part of this is going to make it the North side really interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, the first thing I texted Germ was, like, right after I drafted him, I texted him, even though he's at work. I said, if I don't get Lone Star, I'm going to cry. So hopefully that motivated him.
Yeah, he's motivated by things like that.
Yeah.
So I think he can perform. He just needs to grind. I think Cooper is a natural athlete, and he just he plays for like 2 games and he's back. Like that's just kind of who Cooper is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, practice is going to help. And from what I know, you guys obviously know these two better, but I feel like Germ practices more than Cooper. And so I think that there is the fact that this is a points and not just a show up at a tournament and see how you end up with, I think that could work out in Germ's favor because he practices more. And so I think that's why I have that prediction in my back pocket that they could sneak the second place.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do you still have yourself on top?
Yes.
All right.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that on stream. Goodness gracious.
I was like, second. He said second place. Hold on, wait.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting because I think Germ is definitely someone who he has a lot of peaks sometimes and a lot of valleys in terms of practice. I think if something is ready for him to be there and for him to be motivated, then he's going to be practicing, and I think this is one of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, Cooper just came to get my net, and he said he's practicing serve, so I think he's ready for this league, which is, I feel like it could be an either or for them. It's going to be a close game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Colton, please don't teach Cooper how to cut serve. Please.
Hmm.
Please don't.
Hey, first day training. All right, that's how you cut serve right here. Everybody's line up.
This is
I'm
how
yet,
you do a
yeah, I'm
cut
yet
serve.
to be able to teach someone how to cut serve. I'm like 0 for 10, so.
Oh my goodness. Little doggy is barking.
All right, is it me left?
She left.
Okay, well,
Finish this.
I mean, mine aren't any crazy different than anyone else's. I'd say Rahul and David, and then the Maoris and Coops, and then Matthew and Germ are kind of like all there. I just kind of think it depends on the day and how we're playing. I mean, it could go any way between all three of us, I think. It depends on chemistry a lot. I will say that Matthew and Germ, and then Coop and I have more experience rather than Colton's, than Cooper Diaz. Which, I mean, experience is important, and one of the most important things about it is you know how other people play. So even like, I mean, being ready for certain shots, like, or just like putting yourself in better positions, not being super surprised by anything. Like something happens that is really easy preventable, but Cooper Diaz might even know that exists. Just like simple points right there, which are things that Colton is 100% capable of teaching and warning Cooper about beforehand. So I feel like the more teachable Cooper Diaz is, the scarier I think Colton and Cooper are as a team.
That's so true.
He's probably one of the hungriest spike ball players of all time because that man is always grinding. So I know that he's going to be willing. It's just going to be like, how malleable is he actually, and how much can he learn in a short amount of time? Because the league starts next week, and he has a tough game right off the bat against me and Coop.
Yeah.
So,
Whew, can't even say it, man. He said, I'm ready.
yeah. And then Matthew and Germ are solid. They've played together before. They have chemistry together. I mean, they've played all of us before. That's the thing. Germ hasn't been practiced. I mean, Germ and Cooper Brown haven't been practicing as much just because injury, and then Germ's got other things. And, I mean, those will be factors for sure, but they've also had experience in the past playing high level. So my instinct is either me and Coop or Matthew and Germ, but just because I don't know much about Cooper Diaz, but Colton's nasty, and he can definitely whip some stuff out. And Cooper Diaz looks pretty good, and I feel like he's going to grow a lot. Like, I feel like I think the most detrimental part is, like, I feel like the beginning games are going to be a little rough for him, but I see him honestly becoming a different player by the end of the league.
Definitely.
So, like, maybe they barely make it the playoffs, but then they make a good playoff run. That's what I'm thinking. Because he's going to have learned and grown a lot by then. That's what I'm thinking. But for the South side, I think it's an easy Fred and Noah and Matt and Brian. I just don't see – I don't know. Ethan and Luke would be my third pick.
Yep.
I don't think they can beat Matt and Brian, but it depends on Noah, kind of the same thing as Cooper Diaz with Fred. again, I just think Fred's one of the most solid players to have kind of coaching up someone, and he has the reputation to back that up. So I don't know. I see those two as, I mean, Fred's pretty clutch, and so I just see those two playing. But I also don't see them having a chance, really that much of a chance against Matt and Brian. So because Matt's one of the most improved players for sure. Matt Cole, for everyone, there's like 12 of them. So
I'm multiplying.
yeah. But yeah, I think those are my guesses. And then my runner up would be Luke and Ethan on that side.
Mm-hmm.
If they have like some really good, I mean, Luke's been tearing it up too, and Ethan has apparently as well. I've seen him in the highlights. I haven't seen him in person, but you know.
Yeah, I think Ethan's gonna be. I mean, assuming that he's only gotten better since the core and spike videos, I think he'll be a little bit of a factor on the south side.
Definitely. Well, that's pretty much all we had today for topics. I guess for me, I just want to close out kind of how Matthew did last time. He kind of just asked y'all a random question, and just to get us to know each other a little bit better, and for, I guess, our viewers to know a little something, I guess, personal about us. I want everyone to tell me y'all's biggest fear. Colton.
Like the ocean at night. Pretty scary.
Dude, don't sleep on the ocean. Oh, dude, night ocean. Oh man, that's scary. That's
Specifically at night.
Well, yeah, like even like in the water, or if like you look down in the water and like you can't see, like it's like black, like, it's like just gets darker all the way down. You just can't see like the bottom. That's just pretty. Like you don't know what's below you. Like it's just pretty terrifying.
Dang. Okay, yeah. I think the ocean anytime is pretty scary, so. Alright, David?
Snakes. We're moving on.
Snakes. That's big facts right there, dude.
No more talking about them.
Do not mess with snakes.
We're moving on hard.
My biggest fear?
Oh, Matthew, okay.
Probably myself. Probably scared of myself, honestly.
Ooh.
It's my biggest fear. Sometimes I can't even handle my own thoughts.
Matthew,
I'll be just like
fear...
sitting awake at night and I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I can't think about this anymore. I gotta.
Bro, what?
It's getting too deep. My own headspace is getting too much. I can't do it. I gotta go to bed.
We need to go cuddle with Matthew, dude.
Gotta take some melatonin.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Matthew, your biggest fear is dark, Matthew.
Yeah, exactly. Myself.
Inside.
Bruh. I'll go because I don't want it to end on mine. This is really weird, but my biggest fear is infertility.
Ew.
I really want children when I get older.
That's
so
disgusting.
If I'm infertile,
that's-
it's scary.
That's deep.
It is deep.
Wow. I did not expect that. I'm sorry. Wow.
It's a big fear of mine.
All
To
right,
be
man.
honest,
Everyone's got their fears.
You're a family man.
I am. Very much so. Alright, Luke. Close it out for us.
I feel like my biggest fear is two. There's one like physical one, and it's night ocean as well.
It runs in the family.
Dude, it's scary. The ocean at night with your legs dangling in the water. Oh. And then the other one is like kind of deep, but it's like it's leading, like giving someone advice or like giving someone like spiritual or faith advice, but leading them down a path where they lose their faith.
Oof. Damn,
I know that's
dude.
kinda deep, but, like being the source of them falling from faith.
So like, yeah. I don't know. I was gonna like, well,
Like
that's not-
false teaching.
Yeah, I was gonna make a Star Wars reference with like Anakin going astray, but I don't know
Yeah.
Star Wars well enough. So
And I know like
I was just an idiot.
their own choices afterwards are like not on you, but like I just think it's really important to always be careful with your words and
agreed.
pray about that. So
Agreed. All right, well, everyone, thank you all so much for tuning in to our third podcast. This will be available on Apple and Spotify shortly as soon as we get it to Logan, if you like what you saw today, feel free to follow us, and you will get a notification whenever we go live with more podcasts. And I am going to be commentating, hopefully, all of the league. Reached out to a lot of the players about them sending me their footage, and I'm going to put it on here. I'm hopefully going to be cutting anytime people are shagging balls, so we're just looking at the content of the game itself. And I think that's going to be really fun. If you look really fast, my live scene for commentating is going to be the draft, and then, not the draft, this is the day. It's going to be the player
We
one,
do
player
have,
two, and team 2.
We do have one more announcement. From Frederick Hinkle himself would like us to announce while we have, I guess, audience.
Okay.
It looks like Frederick Hinkle is going to be hosting a tournament at Celebration Park in Allen for $20 on June 27th. So if you want more information, reach out to the Texas A&M Instagram, Texas A&M Spike Roundnet Instagram, and I'm sure he'll be happy to give you more details. I don't think we've talked about playing in it yet. Not sure if we will, just due to health reasons, but it'll definitely be a discussion.
Definitely. And with that, thank you all so much for coming out, and we will hopefully see you next time. See y'all.